Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Richard, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about ADHD in relation to stress in the early adolescent period of life. Today, I studied two articles that I would like to share with you. The first of which talks about stressful life events in relation to ADHD symptoms in the early adolescent. And in this first study, they examined the variation of brain structures in various patients to determine whether or not stressful life events were associated with the areas in the brain that light up when ADHD symptoms are occurring. And they actually found a small to moderate association between the number of stressful life events and ADHD symptoms. And this is interesting because it seems to support the hypothesis that early adversity is associated with ADHD symptoms. Now, this relates to our second article, which talks about the role of family and school climate in relation to ADHD symptoms in the same developmental period, of course. And the second article talked about how, or they were trying to find a association between family life, school climate, and symptoms of ADHD, and they did. They actually found that that ADHD symptoms were associated with a less favorable family and school climate. So what does this mean? This means that, well, if we look at the two together, specifically the two articles, it means, okay, A, stressors early in life are associated with ADHD. And what are the main stressors in the early adolescent period of life? I would argue that they would be school and family. So if a clinician was trying to determine, or what a clinician could do with this information is if they were suspecting ADHD on a child, they could use these questions. They could form developmentally worded questions to ask the child about their family life, about their school life, and try to determine if those are main stressors for them. And if they are, it would be reasonable to assume that ADHD could be a factor, and they should look more into that by obviously continuing that process. Future research should still be done, though. In particular, it should be explored whether these stressors are specifically related to the early adolescent time period, or if they could happen before. At what time period do stressors start being related or start being correlated with ADHD? Could it happen even earlier, like, for example, in childhood, or maybe even in infancy? That would be a great study to do to figure out when exactly these questions should be asked to try and determine ADHD in relation to stressors. But yeah, thank you.